Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the online class of economics. Today, we will continue with the short-term equilibrium chapter number 7 of macroeconomics. Today, we will be going to continue determination of equilibrium output income (GDP). Three basic assumptions are there for equilibrium output income. Before we proceed to discuss how equilibrium GDP is determined, three basic assumptions of the Keynesian theory, which is the focus of our study, must be noted down. The three basic assumptions are: very first, short period analysis. When we say about short period analysis, student, equilibrium GDP according to Keynesian theory is discussed only with reference to short period of time. We have already discussed in the last class also that beginning of the chapter we have learned Keynesian theory always runs the equilibrium of economics in a short period of time, that is mainly of 1 year. Closed economy, according to Keynes theory, it is learned in a closed economy which consists of consumption expenditure, investment expenditure by producer, and then the government expenditure by the government for the various welfare works. So Keynesian theory discussed with the theory of equilibrium GDP in the context of a closed economy. This is an economy which has no economic relation with the rest of the world. There are no exports or imports, so that aggregate demand equals to C plus I when only household sector and producer sector are considered. And aggregate demand equals to consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure plus government expenditure when government sector is also taken into account. According to syllabus specifications, the present study focuses on a two-sector economy. Accordingly, we shall be considering aggregate demand equals to C plus I. Aggregate supply is perfectly elastic. Keynes assumed that aggregate supply is perfectly elastic. Elastic means when we are having number of substitutes more. It means that we are studying an economy which there is an excess capacity, production capacity is lying idle, or there is unemployment or resources. So that whenever there is a rise in aggregate demand, there is corresponding rise in aggregate supply as excess capacity begins to be utilized. Thus, aggregate supply always equates itself with aggregate demand. Of course, rise in aggregate supply in response to a rise in aggregate demand is possible only till excess capacity is not exhausted, that or the situation is full employment is not reached. Determination of equilibrium output income GDP is discussed using two different approaches, where aggregate supply equals to S aggregate demand approach. S equals to A approach. Aggregate demand, aggregate supply, how much is the supply, that is the total demand. S supply equals to investment approach. Details are as under. Aggregate supply equals to aggregate demand approach and equilibrium GDP. When we see, according to this approach, equilibrium GDP is achieved when aggregate supply equals to aggregate demand. As regard aggregate supply, it is perfectly elastic owing to the existence of excess capacity in the economy. It means that aggregate supply always aligns with aggregate demands. How much the supply is there, that must be the demand. Thus, aggregate supply increases in response to increase in aggregate demand and decreases in response to decrease in aggregate demand. More specifically, aggregate supply continues to increase proportional to increase in aggregate demand till resources are fully employed or excess capacity becomes zero. Accordingly, aggregate supply becomes only a passive determinant of equilibrium GDP. Basically, it is the level of aggregate demand which determines the equilibrium GDP. A lower level of aggregate demand leads to a lower level of equilibrium. Definitely, when we are not able to reach the aggregate demand, definitely it will be show a lower level of equilibrium, because aggregate demand will be more less than the aggregate supply, while a higher level of aggregate demand leads to a higher level of equilibrium GDP. Of course, the maximum level up to which equilibrium GDP in terms of the volume of output can reach is a level which is a level where excess capacity is fully exhausted, or the level where there is full employment or resources in the economy. Thus, in the context of equilibrium GDP, what we need to focus upon is the level and behavior of aggregate demand and its components. So, this is aggregate supply equals to aggregate demand, student, where it must be equates with each other. It will tell about level and behavior of aggregate demand and its components. When we see in a two-sector closed economy, aggregate demand equals to C plus I, consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure. Table 1 shows the level and behavior of aggregate demand and its components C and I. Level and behavior of aggregate demand and its components C and I. When we see here, Y is the income, C is the consumption expenditure, change in C. change in Y, I, and aggregate demand we can see. Let us focus Y, C, change delta C, delta Y, and I aggregate demand. If we will sort out this question, how we will get? Y you are seeing 0, 20. Income is increasing, you can see 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 100 to 20. So consumption C, how much is there? 0 income, then also consumption 20 is there. Change in C, change in Y, and I we have to take, the aggregate demand we have to take. Delta C, when we see change in in the first set, it will be not any change. Delta C, delta Y will be nothing. I equals to 10. Fixed investment we are doing, we know producer make a fixed investment. After that investment cannot be done, so I is 10 only. We can see aggregate demand, you can see 30, 40, 50, 60 likewise is there. How we have taken one after another. Income 0, changes change in C, in that situation nothing. Income how much increases? This line if you will see. In consumption delta C, how much is there? 10. The delta C is there. And how much the income change? 20. So in this, how much is the particular how much is the, if 10 is the delta C, I we have already said it is fixed, it is given in the question itself. Okay, delta Y how much is there? So when the change is, the income is 20, change in the consumption is 10 units more. Aggregate demand how much is there? That is C plus I. When we do it, C plus I, Y equals to C plus I. C plus I when we do, then we will get the consumption expenditure. Okay, let us see this. As you know, aggregate demand equals to C plus I. So what we are getting? 30 in the first case, 20 plus 10. I was writing the formula. Y equals to C plus I. Aggregate aggregate demand equals to C plus I when we are seeing there, has Y equals to C plus I. So here 20 plus 10, if we will do aggregate demand 30. 30 plus 10 if we will do 40. 40 plus 10 50. And 50 plus 10 it is 60. 60 plus 10 equals to 70. 70 plus 10, here we get 80. 80 plus 10, how much we get? 90. So this way we get the aggregate demand. Now we will see change in C upon change in Y, how much we are getting there. So as to know what is the ratio of, what is the aggregate demand as per the income increases. So marginal propensity to consumption we have learnt in the last chapter in the delta C upon delta Y when we do 10 by 20, that is the change in C 10, delta Y change in income is 20. 10 by 20, here we get 0.5. So there is a marginal propensity of consumption for every type of consumption, that is 0.5 only. Okay, so this is available student, how we get the particular relationship is there between aggregate demand, income and consumption. So this makes the over. Now the next we will proceed after the table. Level and behavior of C for table 1. What we learned? We have learned that autonomous consumption is still there when income is 0. Y equals to 0, autonomous consumption was 20. Minimum level of C even when Y equals to 0 we have seen. B or MPC, change in C upon change in Y when we did, we have got how much? 0.5. Here we can see there how we got the, as I said, MPC change in C upon change in Y equals to 10 divided by 20, 0.5. Let us see there, table 1 suggests that consumption equals to 20, minimum level of C even when Y equals to 0, or B, marginal propensity to consumption equals to delta C upon delta Y, 0.5, constant at all levels of Y. So the consumption function indicating the level and behavior of C may be specified as C equals to C bar plus BY when we see, or C equals to 20 plus 0.5 Y. Thus when Y equals to 0, C equals to 20, by putting all the values, substituting the values consumption, total consumption, how much we get? C equals to C function plus BY we have learned. So C how much is there? Autonomous consumption 20 was there. 20 plus how much was B? B we have calculated 0.5. Income how much is there in that line? Income was 10. First income was 0, then the income had been raised to 20. So okay, 20, if the income is 20, then in that line how we will relate? That way we substitute the values and we will see the total consumption. Level and behavior of I function, investment function, if we see, table 1 shows that I equals to 10 corresponding to all levels of income Y. It implies that I is constant at a certain levels of income, so that I function is specified as I equals to I stands for constant level of investment no matter what the level of Y is. As the consumption is changing, income is changing, but I will be constant. As I already said, income of the investment by a person will be done once only. It cannot be done many times. So it is the I. Here distinction needs to be drawn between two types of investment: autonomous investment and induced investment. Autonomous investment, when we see, it refers to the investment which is autonomous or dependent of the level of income in the economy. It is constant no matter what the level of income is in the economy. It does not change with any change in the level of income. Induced investment, on the other hand, refers to that investment which changes at the level of income changes in the economy. It needs to be noted that what emphasis that in the context of equilibrium GDP, Keynes consider only autonomous investment. Thus, table 1 shows I equals to 10 constant at all levels of income. Aggregate demand in table number 1 shows the combined behavior of C and I. It is the behavior of aggregate demand in a two-sector economy. Comparing aggregate demand with Y, which represent aggregate supply, we find that when aggregate demand equals to 60, aggregate supply and aggregate demand are equal to each other. Accordingly, the equilibrium GDP arises. Okay. If you want to see the table once again, so as to get why we are saying aggregate supply, so see here it is shown what is the supply, that is the aggregate demand equals to aggregate supply is showing there. You can see the income of the person. As per the income they will be doing demand. So here is the relation where Y equals to aggregate demand. Okay, 60 is there. So here the equilibrium will struggle. So that only we have learned level of investment. Here it has been stated up, that's by substituting the values in the C function, we will get Y equals to aggregate demand. Y is when it becomes Y equals to aggregate supply, aggregate consumption, where aggregate consumption answer is coming 60 and Y is also 60. There we will get aggregate demand equals to aggregate supply. Okay, substituting the values as in table number 1, we get Y equals to 20 plus 0.5 Y plus 10. For Y equals to Y minus 0.5 Y equals to 30. So 0.5 Y equals to 30 when we see Y equals to 60. How was 60? 30 into 0.5, it will come 30 divided by 0.5 as it is multiplied by Y. If we will do, we will get 60. But thus when aggregate demand equals to aggregate supply equals to 60, the equilibrium is struck. It is that level of plant output which coincides with the plant expenditure. All that is planned to be produced in the to be purchased. There are no undesired stock with the producer. Diagrammatic presentation of C function, I function and equilibrium GDP, we can see figure number 1 presents diagrammatic illustration of I function and equilibrium GDP. It is based on the data set. Equilibrium GDP equals to aggregate supply equals to aggregate demand. Let us see what is the line states that Y and X is given. Income line is the 45 degree. Okay, and the C function aggregate demand line is there. How we got the data which I calculated in the tabular data, from there only, as I already said, and consumption also from there. These three lines you have to draw and you will see where the aggregate income is meeting with the aggregate demand, that is C plus I. There the equilibrium is struck. Okay. So this was for today's class. Thank you and have a nice day. We will continue with the next part of the chapter in the next class with some calculation, mathematical calculation. Thank you for today's class.